start from back. Okay. Bring this over here right now. Give me 1 second and I will. Okay. And let's see if I have a picture that would go good with. Cancel image. We're building this from the ground up. Right here on the screen. Let's see. I have something that will work. Yeah, actually. Okay. Welcome one, welcome all, welcome to this shit show, and hopefully I won't fall asleep again. I'm gonna start putting that in my title, like, in PS, hopefully I don't fall asleep again. And what's up, Hyper Raven? For your always being nearly first. Like 99% of the time. I do appreciate it. Give you a shouty. Hyper Raven. Okay. Oh, and Twitch, if you're listening at all, the new app setup is awesome. Just add a way to do the stupid rotten ads so you can get rid of them for an hour or so. Just add them. And I won't even need my freaking tablet anymore if you did that. But alright, let's get back into it. Tuffymon in Another World. This is a improv story redeem. And I had to go back and listen to the story a little bit. This is a guy that came from another world, and he was he ended up coming here as a villager. But he didn't remember his past life because, if I remember correctly, because he made a deal with the person I'm sending him here that you'll start out on pretty much hell difficulty, but if you can get through a certain point in time, you kick ass, take names, and whatnot. So, and that's basically what he did. He had a group of friends that were end up becoming the slowly becoming the hero party. He ends up quitting set party against their wishes. They didn't really, but they understood that he wasn't able to keep up, even though he trained harder than all of them combined. And eventually even became like the Sword Saint student, which is next to impossible because of his determination and grit, making him probably the strongest villager in the world at that point. And because of everything he did and all the work he put in, the day he was about to turn 25 and get his class from how hard he worked, shit imploded. There was a pretty much a unbelievable demon army at his gates of his town, and he just went to fucking town because he didn't want his town to become a heaping pile of garbage. I mean, that was his town. His loved ones are there. That's where he met his friends, which still, both of them still were head over. They all loved him to pieces still. It ain't like one of those in where he gets kicked out because he is incompetent. He pretty much exited himself because he knew he wasn't able to keep up, and he would actually legitimately hold himself back, even though he was still stronger even at that point than most adventurers. But he never gave up. And when he went to go, he found out how big that army was. He was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna slow these guys down as long as I can to get somebody there. And yeah, the very next morning, he was checking his stats, and he ended up getting Divine Knight, which later he'll find out that he ends up becoming the Divine Knight of his own godling powers, that he's actually slowly becoming a god because of how hard he actually worked. And shit's gonna end up continuing there, but yeah. He woke up that morning, he did all of the stuff that was in the last few minutes, checking his stats and everything. There's a lot of stuff that he just did not understand whatsoever, and he ended up going to a temple because the system was brought to him by the gods of that world. And he knew a lot better than he knew for a fact that there was gods now, or at least beings power that had power. So he went and asked them about, hey, what's up? I got this issue and whatnot. I need some help figuring out some of the garbled text on my status screen. And when the priest there went and tried, he ended up stopping in the middle of it, went down, wrote a complete letter, which confused Tuffymon, and gave it to him. And it's like, you need to go to the capital and give this letter to the, and he'll explain to you everything you need to know. Well, that he ended up doing. And with all the stuff that he ended up, is like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to take a shortcut. He said Riley. He concentrated on his abilities that he learned, and he felt he went through a lot of the skills super fast. He ended up learning how to search for stuff at lightning quick. Says teleport to anywhere that you've been. He's been to the capital once or twice before, but mainly selling and produce and stuff. Not many people gave him a good deal because he was just a villager. And I believe he went with his teacher one time, but that's here or there. And so he teleported himself to save on money, which he ended up getting into the capital in record time. Because instead of a normal teleportation that does take some time, because he ended up holding space and time to area instead of breaking down, going at the speed of light and then reappearing, which can cause complications. But anyway, he looked up and saw that he was just right outside the front gate, out of sight at the capital. He ends up, keep in mind, his friends are rushing to their hometown to try to save the people there. Well, he ends up getting to the guard and was like, he explained to him, the priest in his backwater town was wanting me to deliver this letter to the priest, and then saw the seal. The guards did what guards did, verified his story to a certain extent, and let him through with a temporary badge. Then he, by the way, his teacher was heading towards there too, if I remember right. So he has nobody he actually knows in the capital at the moment. Well, he ends up exploring the place, going to some of the markets, going to bought lunch. I mean, some minor stuff. I mean, he did get a buttload of money for wiping out all those monsters. But he also ended up getting a lot of the armor that you see there, and even a spatial ability that allows him to equip it in record timing. Well, that all being said, he finally made it to the temple. It was about noonish. It wasn't extremely late in the day. And he knocked on the temple door and a nun came out. Even in this world, he thought nuns pretty much wear the same thing, except they did have a little bit of enchanted leather armor under their robes, but they were still looked exactly like nuns, which kind of made him chuckle. So he ends up walking inside, and the nun talks to the priest and hands them the note. The priest serving that day looks down and saw the seal, and then saw that this person needs to go talk to the head priest. He runs because of the urgency of the letter, of what was on the letterhead, which Tuffy didn't know about. It was an urgent seal that and then the priest came back out and was like, can you follow me? Looking around, while Tuffy was looking around, it looked like a Catholic cathedral, but with magical lighting and stuff, and seats that were like immaculate. There was still a place up there at the very front of the building and everything. I mean, the place looked amazing. Plus the pictures of all the different divines that were there. Not knowing the commotion that he was truly causing, he started to take contrast from, man, I actually remember my past life now. I've actually made some pretty unique things from my memory without really remembering. Like, he actually made certain type of guns and shit. He had a shotgun and stuff in his inventory at the moment. Um so it ain't like he was starting to remember more and more about his past life, which was a little bit of a slow process because there was a lot of stuff being jumbled around in his head all at one time. But he remembered that his real name from Earth was Tuffymon. He was a soldier, and part of the reason why he was stronger than your average villager is because that's basically what he was back in his old world. He was a big military man. special forces and was more or less the peak of humanity when it came to fighting and fitness against regular people. He finally made it to this ornate office around the door, had jewels and stuff around the edges, but as soon as he walked in there, he was kind of shocked. This beautiful place around here, and the head, he looked around and it literally looked like just bare stone walls with a desk and paperwork and stuff. Paperwork and books and stuff along the walls. That's it. It looked more like a mini or a small library than it did anything. The priest chuckled a little bit and it was like, I bet you were expecting everything to be jeweled out and immaculate and have all this other stuff. He's like, yeah, actually. Well, there's more to life than money and junk that could be given to people that really need the effort. I can respect that a lot, actually. Giving back to people that truly need help, that actually need food and stuff in this world instead of hoarding all your wealth. And plus, still giving a outward appearance of being still taken care of in a stuff for the actual building itself. I can really respect that. Now, to get to this letter, I was wanting to wait until you got in here before we open it. Do you know what this might be about? And then he basically told him, like, he went to try to figure out what was going on with his system and why some of his stuff was garbled. It looked more like an ancient language. It was like almost like a mix between words and pictures. It was, if he didn't know any better, he would say that it was like a combination of like Egyptian and Old English, and with some runic stuff in there from the Vikings. But he kept that in his head because he didn't want to reveal that he was actually reincarnated into this world. It's like, okay, he opens up the letter and he starts reading it, and his jaw absolutely dropped in the floor. He sighed really loud, put the letter down on his desk, put something on top of it to keep it from blowing away because he had the window open. It's like, I need to check your status. Can you share it with me? Sharing it with a priest in this world is actually not that bad in taste, because of they're not allowed to actually share it with anybody, even under grave threat. Like if a demon lord came in there and shared his stuff, they weren't allowed to mobilize and take care of the threat before it became a threat, because of the gods would strike him dead. He went and touched his head and he said, share. and then a bright light happened. Um, 1 minute, and he took his hand off the next, with his sweat pouring down his face. Tuffy looked at him like a weird. It's like, did you understand? Before he got the words out completely, the priest did something to this stand, goes like that in a big circle, magical bound runic circle, ends up hovering under him, and then he says a whole bunch of words in so quick that he didn't understand, and then the light went bright again. And then the next thing he knew, he found the head priest on the ground on his knees with his eyes so wide he couldn't fathom what just happened. The priest ended up saying, "Holy shit." Like, are priests allowed to cuss? Tuffy said. He looks up at him with a, after all that happened, that's what you were. Never mind. He just laughed. Well, you are a divine knight, young godling. And he bows in front of him. Young what? You are a divine knight to your own self. You're a human plus. You're a human god, basically, which is unheard of. You quite literally broken the bounds of so many different things that it's not even funny. And some of the tech should be available to you now, but not all, until you actually I need to rest. And then he just looked out of breath and he's like, holy shit, what did I do? He laughed a little bit. I'm glad that your power hasn't went to your head. He's like, yeah, well, just yesterday I was a freaking villager. Looked up. Wait. Then he ends up saying, he used to be with the hero party and the young prodigy of the our sword saying. Correct on both. Quite literally, you're the strongest villager in the world, and now you're a young godling. He's like, oh shit, I don't need to. I swear, if you start talking to me and all the, oh, woe is me, God, servant speech, I'll leave. He chuckled for a second. You'd be surprised how many gods hate that shit. Just be candid with me. He laughed. Well, can you come with me? Call for the he yelled at the nun. It's like, call for the two head nuns and three other priests that are currently here before they get shipped out to their new cathedrals. Which he knew that there were some people in training because they usually train under this guy. Well, anyway, it's like, so you gonna tell me anything about this? What godling is? Well, you know how we have our pantheon of 10 different gods with different areas of expertise. Like we have the god of water, god of fire, um, god of life and death, god of this, god of that. And it's like yada yada yada. You get what I'm like, yeah. Well, every once in a while, um, gods are born, which are usually don't happen in the human race. Usually it happens with like semi-divine beings and or like dragons or higher magical tier creatures than us humans. There has been a few human gods out there, but definitely not from here, of all places. So I expect that you're have a dual citizenship. What's that? He said, a dual citizenship pretty much means that you've been reincarnated into this world and your soul is actually from two different planes of existence or two different planetary alignments. Oh, okay. Yeah, I I can see that. Looks at him with, you actually know what that means? Yeah, the world I was before, I actually learned that there was other planets, other galaxies, even other universes out there, depending on how deep the cookie crumbles. Even different dimensions of how everything may play out if different things just to even happen. Usually created by super powerful beings that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. If I had my guess. Wow. Well, you just confirmed that. He's like, so what happened when the bright light happened? Oh, yeah, basically, it, it highlighted, translated some of your text, and then I looked over your screen and some of the different things about your screen, and basically it just gave the second time when I used the runic, which allowed me to do a higher version of that. Yeah, it nearly killed me. That's why I'm still out of breath. And why I had to call so many different priests and stuff. And I'm glad that you're a little bit more down to earth than what I would expect of a high priest. He laughed. Trust me, if this was anybody else, I basically would be keeping my not distance, but keeping my perspective going. And you've already came out and said very publicly you don't want to be treated like a god on wheels. He laughed for a little bit. Like, you're not really wrong about that at all. So they finally make it to this big room that had the Pantheon inside the room. The nuns and the priests were there. It's like, and even a priestess. Like, what's going on? And then she stared at our boy Tuffy. It was like, understood. And then she starts ordering people around. You need to get here. Seeing how tired the priest was, and how mentally exhausted he was. Our young divine knight did a mental search for a healing slash stamina slash magical spell that he could transfer just a little bit of his power to be able to heal him and to get him back up into shape, which was the wrong call. Which he finds out. He raises his head up and was like, all he said was heal. A little bit, a sliver of his power ends up entering the high priest, and his body started healing at a tremendous rate, where the priest was probably looking like he was about a 60-year-old man, really long white beard, kind of wrinkly, but kind of not looking extremely old, but you can tell he's aged. His body probably de-aged 30 years or more. His muscles expanded. And his eyes went wide. It's like, holy shit, what the hell did you do? I thought it just tried to heal some of your magic and to revitalize you a little bit with some stamina and heal you a little bit. I didn't mean to do what? Then this ability popped up into a thing, expect, and then he ended up saying it without even thinking, and then his base stats came up. His stats came up, and then it had his name, Zay Thundrar, age 89, class human, or race human, class first high priest of Tuffy. And then he read that again, and then he looked down at his base stats, strength, 999, stamina, about 1,500, magical, about 1,500 hit points, about 20,000 hit points, magic points, about 50,000 magic points. And then it's like dexterity and all right around the 900 marks on all of them. And then he went down through some of his base skills. A new skill that popped up, and instant inspect, granted to him by his god, basically, that it allows him to inspect a person to his one level or about 10 levels higher to down. But anything above his own level would be fractured, like you couldn't exactly see everything. And then he just stopped reading and pushed it away. He was like, what did I do? He just shook his head. Fuck. And then he looks over at the priestess. It's like, we're gonna have to hunt for a new high priest for the temple of the 11 divine, or of the divines. Why did you say 11? She said, well, because I just became the high priest of the 11th divine of this world. Her eyes went wide. She just stood there and shook her head, and it's like, yeah, we need to get this done right quick, and then we can talk about all of that. Well, they all pushed him into the middle of the circle, and he was like, since I have my magic back, I'm gonna help with this. Gave him a wary look. Are you sure? Like, yeah, I'm gonna help with this. It ain't that big of a deal. Then he was like, okay. He stumbles back and is like, well, let's do it. They all bow down and put their power into this circle, and then the next thing Tuffy knows, he's in the world between world astral type space with the 10 other divines of this world right in front of him. Keep in mind, the power of depends on how long we can chat for. Mortal. He cut himself off, and then his eyes went wide. Young godling. And you're even able to stay into the mortal realm. What the fuck? He looks at him and is like, how did this happen? Because I think I'm only still a divine knight, even though I have no idea. I mean, yesterday I was pretty much maxed out villager, and then today I am basically a divine being. God to you, boy. This guy with like a bunch of armor on is like, yeah, most gods are seriously just beings with powers beyond the comprehension of mortals, are they not? The title, just like any other title, just like a king is to a peasant. except with a lot more rules and baggage, apparently. Circle? These circle cups are actually pretty good, by the way. Sorry. Sorry, I got a text. Okay. But anyway, well, all of them were just kind of speechless. It's like, a human? God? How did this happen? And his path definitely isn't normal. And I'm not exactly a normal human anymore, if that makes any sense. Whatever they call a human plus. Their eyes went wide. Holy shit. How the hell did this happen? Uh, Honestly, I think it was because of how many demons I killed all at once. Looked at them and was like, and kind of broke the limit on my class. At the same time, my true class was actually coming forth. And right when that happened, I used a skill instinctively that killed over 10,000 demons and several, quite a few high ranking demons and even some general class demons from the clash that happened yesterday. Shit. And then then there was a somebody that ran in there, which was the 11th person. Why did it take you so long, 25 years, to go to a church to get? And then she looks around. How are you all here? And then she looks at him and I was like, what the fuck? And she just, how? Just, how? How did this happen? The gods looked over and was like, do you know anything about what's going on here? And then they all looked at her for a second and then all kind of bowed for like courteous bows like this. Sorry for the disrespect, but you gonna bow too? Why the hell would I bow? You tried to get me to do that shit before, too, and we all know how that happened. She laughed for a minute. It's like, that's true. I knew when I reincarnated you there, but what the fuck happened? A series of unfortunate events. But the meat and potatoes of it is what, in my opinion, what happened is I got my memory back, got my true class from going to hell mode when I became a villager, and the hellish amount of experience combined with getting my true class combined with all the experience and shit I gained from working my ever loving ass off all kind of imploded. And a incident happened. I can say so. She laughed for a second. The funny thing is you're a divine knight to your own self. And you upgraded the human class? Shit. There's only a handful of beings, although, and most of them have been artificially created. That wasn't born from. But you legitly upgraded your own race. She looked deeper into some of the different things that his class was, and her mouth dropped. Well, shit. Well, this kind of won't do. And she looks at them and was like, you know what? And she looks her head over at the other gods. Right now, before you guys say much, you should make him the guardian of his planet. That planet particularly don't have a guardian. And from the looks of it, they're about to have some. You all are about to have some bad news. And having a god level guardian would serve both the planet and the Pantheon. Plus, he has my blessing too that he hasn't fully unlocked yet. What? Um, hold on. Which is kind of crazy. He said, matter of factly, because that would actually help all of you guys out too. Because this young godling is this human plus godling is of a new branch of gods. And to stabilize a lot of different things into this world, it may actually help all the above. But that would also exactly. I know why you haven't chose one yet. And plus, all of you need to go ahead and start choosing your own champions outside of your high priest. Which I know most of you have already chosen. Just have not went through the motions yet. And then she looks at Tuffy. You are going to have a very interesting time. He looks like, why are you talking differently to me than to them? It's kind of weird. You have more of a, just a weird way of talking when you talk to them. Politics, something you won't need to really worry about much, young godling, he said in that weird voice. Stop. I would rather you have your normal voice. Okay. But what did you mean, a new Pantheon? You know how on your world there was like Zeus and his crew, and well, on our world, and the Vikings and their own god pantheons, and the sun gods, and this and that, and even Jesus himself. Yes. Well, he looked over there at. That's what I mean. There's multiple. All of them existed at one time or another, even though they mostly acted like children and kind of took each other out before they even met, which is kind of messed up. And this world has their shit together when it comes to that, but only because they actually started working together instead of being corrupted by the humans. Humans corrupting gods. Hmm? She, most of the gods of your world have either ascended beyond the pace of normal godhood or and whatnot. And you're in my region, but all of them have different of their own pantheons. You, my young godling, are now your own pantheon even. That's why I can talk to you normally, where I have to show some respects to these rabble. Rabble, I heard that. The poor god came out and said, but so what's gonna happen? Well, me and you are gonna have a long talk here in just a minute, but you're gonna take the guardianship of this world, and yeah, but she thrust it in. Like, here landed a tablet, like a phone device in his hand. It's like, why are you giving me a phone? Because our connection here is about to end, and everybody is gonna have some shit that they have to do, you know. And but have you guys decided? Then another, yes, I agree to your terms. And then poof, what was that? And then that same lady come right behind, eyes wide, and then smiled brightly, kissed him, and then everything went white. And then he went back, and as soon as he got back, everybody in the room was about dead, except for his high priest, which was still puffing and puffing for the second time. And then a message popped up on his phone. He unlocked it, which he found out that anybody else wouldn't be able to. You can search up information and whatnot on your new phone here. Also, remember, you are now the guardian of this planet. And whatnot. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick break because with me drinking all that water, I gotta use the restroom. EDs sucks ass. And being fat too with trait on bladder. But I will be right back. I probably won't have much longer to this story. Then I'll probably be switching over to the retro redeem. Peace out. I'll be right back, motherfucker. Yeah, I love that game. And yes, I need guides to be able to make cool shit. Yeah. 7 hours. Can you beat it? I will just fraction 5 rounders. Great job, bro. Great job, bro. Strong power. Strong power of the dragon. It wasn't power the enemy. Power like friends. Okay, it is. What happened?
Great.
Welcome all, welcome to another installment of Breath of Fire.
Hola.
Alright, now coming back to a story. As T kept on reading down, he saw basically, as you being the new guardian of this planet and being a godling has never happened before. Which there are some things that you do need to learn about. Go to this website here and it will explain. He laughed out loud when it came to that. But you and your new high priest, which Pantheon ain't really super enthused about that one. Losing him in general because he was kinda OP. And he was probably one of the best cardinals, one of the best high priests any of them ever had. Because he actually truly cared. He ended up typing back to her, you need to bring this kid here for training. To be in the priesthood of you guys. To replace him. He knows what it's like to be on the bottom and the top. Because of his POS family. And he is literally helped me out 12 times around the farm without any compensation or asking for anything for that role. He truly might be the best suited. What's his name? Everyone calls him an elf. Actually. Because he's kind of scrawny and super agile. And kind of that messenger type deal. I can even have my high priest actually train him how to deal with everything. Another moment passed where the couple lined down. It's like, this is literally just like an phone. And she saw laughter right there for a second, and it's like, you know what? She peered into that guy, which was actually sleeping at the moment. Oh, shit. The, new, uh, they all agreed to make him high priest right now. And they said, thank you for having your high priest to actually train him how to do everything. And they also stated that he's their intern high priest until he trains your new one up. But that also means you won't have a temple. Do I really want a temple? A portal ends up dropping this kid out of the and landing into the middle of the floor. What the? Then a bright light happened, and his mouth went wide open. What the fuck? Why is my job now say training priest when I was but just a elementalist? Combiner? Or herbalist combiner, not elementalist. That actually might be easy. He looks over to his and he's like, you are still under your duties here at the church. Yes, you're still my high priest, whatever the hell that means. He chuckles for a second. But I need you to train this boy up to pretty much take over your job. So says the Pantheon. And a divine revelation happened 2 seconds after he said that to all priests among the land about the change and everything. And came up with a kind of a messed up idea. But anyway, he laughed for a second and he was like, okay, okay. But you know that means I can't. That's fine. I don't even know what all that means anyway right now. He hollers out for this choir boy to come, and this one nun that always served under him. Can you accept these two into our pantheon thing? How do I do that? Do what you did with me. That exact spell. He turned over and did that exact spell. Heal. And then he renamed it in his thing, Divine Heal, or Divinity Heal. Both of them, their chast claims to priest and priestess instead of priest in training and nun. Both of their eyes went super wide. Even the priestess girl that was in there, eyes went wide, especially after she. What the fuck just happened? Well, shenanigans. A whole ton of shenanigans. And apparently I'm the new guardian of this planet. Yeah, I know. And you have your own. Holy shit. Okay. Um. The head priest looked at both of you. While I'm gone, you need to help him. You are now his priest and a priestess. You're no longer bound by the laws of anybody else but him. He could turn out to be evil or he could turn out to be good. It is our job to defend him, to honor him. Even though I'm pretty sure he's not evil whatsoever. Actually, I'm pretty sure he's going to be very human. And don't try to act all hibbity-hibbity. Speak to him casually, not with supreme reverence to the underworld. He said just like that. Yes, priest. High priest. And she said, yes, high priest. So that means everything. I chose you two because you two never wanted to recruit higher because you wanted to help me out. I cannot be by his side at the moment. The reason why I've recommended you two is because I trust you two. Anything he wants, any new rules he comes up with, he is your divinity. You pray to him. You praise his name, even though he ain't gonna want that 24/7 either. We're in new territory here. We're both in a new paragon, but I got to train up over here. And he's still quite young. And having two people that are kind of new to their job with him kind of new to his may be of a more greater assistance later on as well. It's like, yes, high priest. Yes, high priest. Alright. Is there anywhere I can crash here? Everybody looked up and it's like, I just need a room, and they need their own rooms too, I guess. They have their own rooms, but go to, you flick them over a key, go to this room. It's basically our guest quarters for high-ranking people. Everything's fake in there, for the most part. But, yeah. And these two will show you the way there. Alright, time to get you up to speed. And he walks out to his room. They show him where his room is. He gives him a little nod like that and is like, you guys take off for now. I got to figure some shit out on my own. And they both bow to him in reverence. You know, you don't need to do that. This is our way to pay respect. You are now our God. Yes, we will be casual with you per to that's what you want, but we will show you reverence. I mean, I can command you not to show reverence. Like, please don't. Fine. But go ahead and go now. I got to figure some stuff out. Then he walks over there to his bed and he clicks on the link that he sent.